Hey, welcome to Single on a Saturday night right here at TGI Fridays, 4000 City Ave. We do this every fourth Saturday, and you, your man, your boo, whoever you got, they welcome to join us. We not just single. We single, daytime single, nighttime single, and some of us may not even be single, but it's Single on a Saturday night. I am Shelly Williams, and I am single, never been married, no children, and I want them to introduce themselves. Everybody introduce themselves. I'm going to go down to my Rizzy, my right.
What's going on, y'all? It's your big homie, TC Caldwell, BKA Storm E. Weathers. Single, I'm a parent, king, period. Renaissance man. If I can't do it, baby, probably can't be done.
Catrice Bailey, model, owner of Models Like Me Consulting Agency, and a mother of 3.
Did you have to think about it?
I did. I had to think about it.
All right, the 3. Go ahead.
I'm Sydia Bagley, owner of Size Palace and Catering, CMOS Gold as well. I'm the mother of 2, and I'm not single. I'm not.
Yes, that's right. Clean it. And we're going to talk about her remarkable daughter, because that's how I met you, through your remarkable daughter. So we'll talk about her in a minute, but go ahead.
I'm Sakina Muhammad, educator, student, proud mother, owner of Restful Caterpillars, and CEO.
Yes.
I'm Shelby Wilson. I'm the owner of clothing line Streets and Worth It, mentor.
Well, welcome to Single on a Saturday night. Today's topic is literally, I mean, even before we started, Sakina had me over here in tears for a second. I had to get myself together. I was like, oh man, I thought I was going to be ready. But she had me in tears. But we're talking about women who have overcome being incarcerated, basically life after incarceration. Their stories are inspiring, not just, hey, listen to their story, but listen to their story to see how they can inspire you, because they are remarkable. We're going to start with Cy Moneybag. No, so we're going to talk about something here. And because, I mean, literally, I would have had no idea when meeting you that your story was so powerful. So talk about, how you came to be incarcerated and the whole story. I know you don't want to tell that whole story, but partial of that story.
Well, y'all gonna have to pay for the whole story.
That's right. That's how you start making money. Books, movies, whatever we're gonna do. What we gonna do?
Well, I have a book coming out very, very soon. Right now, it is in the editing state. It's called Girlrilla, and it's pretty much about my life. But when I was 20 years old, I went to federal prison. I was given 10 years, and the feds are 85%, so you do 85% of your time. I did 8 years, 9 months, and then I did the halfway house. While being in the halfway house, I started programming, and I started my own catering company after going to culinary art school. And from there, I just recently, and I'm a writer, I'm a poet, I do a bunch of things on top of being a mother. But I started selling currently CMOS Gold, which is 92 of the 102 minerals that the body needs daily to survive. And y'all can go to my website and purchase it as well. I make my own soap. And I make health drinks that restore and replenish the minerals in your body as well. That's pretty much it. I mean, if you want to get into the nooks and the crannies
we're gonna get into the nooks crannies. She's being,
because I was being circus.
She's being in circles. All right, so we were going on the topic. Would you do time for your mate? And pretty much that's the story. You've done time for your mate. You've done time for your mate, or the mate that you were with at the time. But that's that kind of love. So tell us how that happens. Can you talk about it?
Well, I'll say this. I was more so going off of principle. It wasn't necessarily the fact that I was so in love with him. I was at the time, and even though he turned out not to be who he was supposed to be, I stood on my own 2 feet because of the principles that I was raised upon. And I did everything they said I did. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm backing out now because I'm in a situation and, oh, I'm a mother. I was the same mother when I was going out there throwing bricks at the penitentiary. So I had to stand on that because of the street etiquette and education I had. So it wasn't like, oh, now that I'm here, blame it all on him. I can't say that that's my story. I can't say that it wasn't because of him. He didn't manipulate me or anything. I was already in the streets because of my upbringing. So that's not the same story as a lot of people. I never took a case for nobody. I took my own case and I stood on my own 2 feet and I did my time.
Absolutely. So, what happened to actually get you? What did you do? A little bit of it. I know it's gonna be in the book.
I was robbing banks and check cashing places and anything that wasn't human. None of the people. I never harmed a person, but I did take insured money.
I feel you. I worked at a bank, and the bank I worked at was robbed twice. So I understand what it's like to be on the other side. It wasn't you. It definitely wasn't you. Listen, they had on one of those masks, but it was definitely men, so it wasn't you. You say what? No. No, I know. Unless you was in the car, it was 2 men, but I actually was a part of that process. But when you're going through it, you like, listen, you know how you say they're scared to pee out you?
And that's another thing, like, people be like, you don't look like you'll rob a bank. People don't look like a lot of the stuff that they are. It's not really something you wake up like, this is what I do. Like, I'm just put my face on the day and rob a bank. That's not what happens. Life happens, and then you got to think of all the alternatives. Now that I'm older and I have a wiser mind and I have the hustle and bustle to move around and find other means of and alternatives to get the money that I need to prevail, I use other situations, but at that time it's just I got to get it fast. That's the life that I'm living, so I get it how I live it. I get up every day and I'm going out to find it, and that's the reality of it. But when you're young, nobody's really looking to hire you. Oh, you don't have experience. Oh, you don't have this. All these things are things that turn you to the streets. So it's like I'm given no choice.
But when you're in there, right, you form some strong bonds with these ladies right here. How did you meet Sakina?
I met Sakina at FCI Danbury when I was shipped there to finish the balance of my time after being at FDC. And we're Muslim, we're from Philly, and we pretty much correlated off of that. A good person to talk to. It was good to bounce ideas off of her. It was good to just have somebody that can relate to the same struggle. And, she was a mother. She left her small child. My daughter was 3 when I went to prison, and I came home to a 13-year-old. That was, something I had to transition into. And Sakina, she was there. So,
well, let's talk about your 13-year-old before we go to break. Your 13-year-old is a designer, but she's not 13 anymore. She just turned 16, right?
17.
Oh man, when I met her, she was 16. Talk about her, because listen, that's how I met you through her. She was a designer in the fashion show we did. So talk a little bit about. Let's give some props to your daughter, because that shows you that no matter what, you become you get excellent work.
And that's the thing, I never stopped parenting from prison. Everybody say like you and your daughter didn't have situations. She was a teenager when I came home. Every parent gonna have a problem with a teenager, especially a girl. But I never stopped bonding. I never stopped parenting because I was incarcerated. I still knew that she needed her mother. So I was still that reinforcement. I still wrote her teachers. I still and introduced myself every year. You, her 2nd grade teacher, how you doing? I'm her mother, I'm incarcerated. They sent all her reports to me. Everything really came to the jail. Her dad really had to write me, or when we were on a visit, like, well, what is she going to report for?
What?
Yeah, they sent it to me.
They sent it to you. There you go.
Yeah, I was really engaging her school, because that's a part of, if she's there half of her day and I'm her parent all of her day, then I need to, be in contact with these people. I need to know what's going on with my daughter, because they see her more than sometimes the parents see her. So they know, and I had to, be a part of that.
And you were definitely a part of that.
Absolutely.
And once again, her name is Kizzy Designs. Check her out on
Kizzy Designs and Apparel. Yes.
Kizzy Design. Amazing work.
Absolutely.
And she's such a sweet person. Listen, we're going to go to a break, but I want to know what made you literally change your, like, listen, I'm done with this. This is it. Basically the transformation. We're going to talk about that when we come back from break. The transformation process.
Absolutely.
This is Single on a Saturday Night right here, TGI Fridays. Thank you to AlvinaStyles.com for this bling. She blinged me up. She came all the way here to bring me the bling. Thank you so much. And of course, Rashina Stewart of the all-new Lotus Beauty Spa. Let's go to a break, and we're going to find out more when we come back. before we went to the break, we asked idea, what made you change? What transformed you and it said, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm good.
The risk is not worth the reward. And I say that to say that I touched so much money. I counted money until I fell asleep, had to write down where I left off and woke up and had to count the rest. And it still wasn't sufficient. It still amounted to nothing because I came home and I had to start all over. And all I got out of that was 10 years, taken from my daughter, taken from myself. And it's like I'm so much better than the time that I was stricken from, that I was incarcerated. So it's just like the risk not worth the reward. I'm so much better than that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about Sakina. Listen, you told me about your story, and you actually tell us about right now. You are an educator. Let's talk back with your educator. Talk about how you got interested in being an educator.
One of the main reasons was primarily leaving my children, like leaving. I also had a child incarcerated. Chained to a bed, by the way. I was indicted for drug charges. Believe it or not, I was transporting kilos of cocaine across the border. I'm not proud of it, but I did learn from the experience. I will be honest and say a lot of my reasons for doing the time was, I stand on, it was just loyalty and love. Like everything was all emotion. It was where I was and what I thought love was at the time. So I was sentenced 8.5 months pregnant. I was sentenced to 84 months in prison, plus an additional year for violating probation. I'm not here to say I was all the way in the street. I followed who I love. And a lot of times as women, that's what we do. Like you follow where your heart is. So in the midst of it, I left a toddler, which is my oldest son now, proud son, 17. His name is Chaz. He's also a young entrepreneur. He endured a lot. He had to undertake therapy. Not only that, I missed pretty much my middle son. His entire, everything was taken from me 3 days after spending time with him in a hospital. So even to this day, that relationship still calls for repair. So one of the main reasons I'm an educator now is because now when I educate my youth and I educate who I teach and the teenagers from the pre-K to middle school, like all of my pain, I've just transitioned it into what I missed. I didn't see pre-K. I didn't see kindergarten. I didn't see first grade. I didn't see second grade. I barely got visits. Everything was pretty much my time. Like I missed so much time out of their lives. So when I came home, yes, I turned my life around. I got back into school. I am an educator pursuing my master's in education. I do work for the NSA Multicultural Academy. I'm proud of it. I don't have any regrets. I want my story is real. Like there's women today that may be following that type of brother or versus that type of sister. Like if I had to share anything, I would say whatever adversities you go through, you're going to go through adversity. Just try to turn it around to something positive. Like I came home, I was told I was never going to mount to nothing. I never was going to get a job. Look at my record. My record was a mile long. Before I was indicted on drug charges, I also was in the white collar field. I was pretty much doing a lot of things. I also was in the street. So if I had to if I had to share anything, just turn it around. Like turn it around before you end up doing life in prison. And I did 84 months because who I was in love with at the time, they was trying to give them life. They literally, and once they found out that I was actually pregnant, the antagonization was harder. They were coming to where I was serving my time. They were calling me out for visits for me to tell on this individual, so I didn't do it.
So when you talk about telling somebody, is it just love, or is it if I tell, then they may come after me, even though you love them? Is it I tell and they come after me, or I tell and they try to harm me? Is that it? It
was a combination of everything. For one, I got a big family, 5 sisters, 3 brothers, a mother. Everybody was calling, writing. They were just really pretty much. I had to silence myself from my family. One thing about the feds at that time was, well, you're not going to say nothing. We're going to get it through the phone calls. So I had to go into a state of mutism where I just kind of shut everything out. I'd stopped communicating with people. I'd stopped communicating with my siblings. For one, I didn't want them in the same situation that I was in. So that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna ask the same question, and then we're gonna go next to you right there for Shelby. The moment, was it in while you were incarcerated or outside that you said, I'm just not gonna do it anymore?
Well, I was stopped. I was surrounded by maybe 8 or 9 U.S. Marshals and a few dogs. So I went through a shock. Like, I literally just shut down. Like, this is really happening to me right now. So it was a shock. It was almost surreal. So at that moment, it was what it was. My whole life just changed. You know, I never was given, I didn't see the 9 years later, 8 years later, I was on the street. I didn't get a bond. I didn't get no reconsideration. It was, you getting ready to do all this time. You know, I was actually caught with what I had, which was a couple kilos of cocaine, unfortunately. You know, it's just what it was. So,
and she's also working on a book, too.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a book, a new project, well, a remake of my book, Cajoled, which is pretty much based on a true story, which is what transpired throughout this whole story that I'm sharing with you guys today. It is also in the editing process, and that's one thing, like when I met Sydia in the FCI Danbury, one thing that drew me to her was not only was our situation similar, I felt comfortable enough to share with her. I pretty much didn't share anything. So for 4 years, I think I met you 4 years down, I didn't talk to anyone. You know, my shock put me into what happened, who, you know, I was puzzled. I didn't know how the indictment happened. All I know was I'm getting ready to go down for 8 years. Like, it's finished. So I felt comfortable enough with Sydia and shared a lot of things with Sydia, and we bonded throughout the years and just kept each other sane, I'm going to say. Because also, not only that, doing time is like two different worlds. You can't do time and then focus on the outside world. Like, you just can't. You'll go crazy, you know. And then the man that I was in love with at the time, it was, you know, he had another life. So he was pretty much providing that cushion, what I needed on that end, when I knew the reality was, you know, you moved on. So we built a friendship, and we just kind of kept each other okay. You know, doing time is doing time.
It's doing time.
Yeah, I can't even expect you to relate if you never did it. You know, you can't relate. It's impossible. You know, you can watch movies all day long and listen to, you know, music, but doing time is doing time. So there's no, I can't even associate a fictitious story with what was reality. And one thing that hurt me the most was leaving my children. Like, that killed a part of me. Like, it took a part of me that's still not fully repaired. You know, it's just not. I love my children. I love being a mother. I love being an educator, but that's like a tainted area that could never be replaced, period.
Well, we're going to go to a break, and we come back. We're going to hear from Shelby. And what's your name again? Ann, who welcomes us on the class. We're going to come back. We're going to hear from them. This is Single on a Saturday Night right here at TGI Fridays, 4000 City Avenue. That's one.
Yeah, y'all. We are back right here, Single on a Saturday Night, 4000 City Ave. And we are here with some ladies that have dealt with some significant trials and tribulations in their lives. And right now, we're down to Shelby. Shelby, talk to us. Tell us your background. Tell us your story. Tell us what has you here with us today.
Where do I start? Well, being as though I'm the youngest up here on the crew.
How you know I'm not younger than you?
That's me, baby. I got it. Baby face. But my story started basically when I felt like my parents didn't love me. And what I mean by that is, you know, as a teenager, being in the streets, providing for yourself, you feel like you know everything. And when they try and chastise you, you're not really going for that. So at that time, like, I had just came home from missing like 2 weeks, you know, in the streets. And my mother wasn't going for it. You know, we had our back and forth, and to get my attention, she grabbed the bat. And when she grabbed the bat, my pop just came out of nowhere, grabbed it, and he hit me in my head twice with a metal bat. So, and I just remember waking up from that, and my head just running with blood, and they arguing. And at that moment, I just felt like they didn't love me, because Mom, you had the bat, you let him take it. So from there, I went to what I knew best, the streets. And from there, I ended up joining the gang, Crips, Rolling 60s, which I'm still a member of, but I'm not active. And I just started doing everything there, like started gang banging, shootouts, drive-bys, robberies, selling drugs, whatever, like whatever to get a dollar. Like I really didn't care about life. I didn't care if I died today or tomorrow.
So what was it that you had participated in that had changed that from having that freedom to do those things to being incarcerated?
What you mean?
What was it that got you incarcerated?
On my 20th birthday, I had a big brother that I looked up to. His word was golden, and he was in the midst of having his son. And he was married, and he went to the army. His situation with him, he needed money, and he knew I was in the streets. So he came to me for direction. He wanted to know if it was somebody we can rob. And of course, I got somebody for you, bro. And that's what happened. But instead of him letting me control everything, it didn't go that way, and we ended up getting caught. And then from there, it's like, it's my first charge, but it's the first time anything stuck, where I couldn't get no bond and my parents couldn't bail me out. And they gave me 5 years from the door on my 20th birthday.
And during that 5 years, not necessarily lesson that you learned about that situation, well, what was it was something about yourself that while you were incarcerated that you found out about yourself that you might not have thought was there while you was in the street?
Self-value, my self-worth. I found all that in prison. Like, for me, prison was therapeutic for me, because I really got to go through and find out who I was for myself, because for so long I lived for my parents and for my big brother, for their satisfaction. Once I went to jail, I was by myself. I didn't have them. So I had to figure out things that I liked, things that I wanted to do for self-satisfaction.
And tell us about your entrepreneurial spirit. What is it out here? You're an entrepreneur also.
Yes, sir. I got this clothing line that I'm wearing. It's called Streets Ain't Worth It. And it's basically mentoring to the youth for our culture. Like, the violence is crazy. Everybody's so used to, you know, the street. Everybody think it's cool or whatever, whereas they don't have nobody like us as OGs to steer them in the right direction. All the OGs is basically like, they helping them destroy their life.
And I want to tell you, I say that all the time, that, you know, in light of what just took place in Philadelphia with the young children that were shot, that there was a time in this city where if anything like that happened to a woman or a female, they might have been found, but they wouldn't have never had to worry about going to jail.
Exactly.
But, you know, times are changing. Unfortunately, like you said, you have more of the cats that are sending them down that road and not trying to steer. Like, my OGs, like, listen, you go to the store, take care of your mom, don't be out here, play ball, get your education. They steered us away from that, but times have changed. Ms. Ann, Ms. Ann, how you doing down there?
I'm blessed. How are you?
All right, I'm good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, you know, tell us your background. Tell us your story and what brings you here with Single and our family right here today.
Well, I was typical, had a great family, great upbringing, Catholic school, both parents, grandparents. And, you know, I lived in North Philly. You're pretty much sometimes a product of your environment. So I did what I thought was the end thing, did what everybody else did instead of doing what I should have done. So I really have nobody to blame, no drugs, nothing like that to blame, just my greed. Greed got me where I incarcerated. About 2008, 2009, I lost my job. I was working for a hotel. I had just started. I was on probation period, and I forgot to clock out, and they, you know, said that I was still in time, so I lost my job. A friend introduced me to a guy. We liked each other, and he was, you know, he had a scheme that was making some money, so it all played out. you know, I did my crime. I don't blame anyone. I didn't go to prison for a guy. I did everything that they said I did. You know, I'm not proud of it. It's not something that I should have done, but it was at the time it was paying the bills.
Now, hearing that story, that, you know, that just kind of lends to, because I'm from North Philly also, so I definitely understand, because I grew up in the middle, it was the heroin capital, so that's what I was surrounded by all my life. Seeing murders at a very young age and people like totally strung out and not understanding it, but as I got older, what was it between your upbringing to that scheme situation to being incarcerated that made it click for you of what you wanted to do or where you wanted to go when you got out?
Well, the thing was, that really wasn't me. Like I said, I had a job. I went to good schools. I was very smart. I just took the wrong path. And once I got incarcerated, it just gave me the sight to see that I took so many things for granted. I wanted so much more that I really didn't need. I met Sydia in the laundry. She was the laundry person. I came in and all of the Philadelphia people, our number is 066. She said, "Oh, you're 066." She gave me all the nice creased pants, fresh white t-shirts. She dressed me up. She dressed me up. She dressed me up, and she dressed me up and made me feel, you know, like I could do this. I'm going to be okay. And it just happened to be that my son's father is from the same area she's from, so that made it even more comforting for us both. So, you know, I took that time and I reflected on the things that I took for granted, my family, things like going into your refrigerator, getting a glass of ice water, you know, just the small things in life that we really don't think mean anything. And I came home and I got a job working for Labor's Local 332, and I have not turned back. I've been the shop steward, I've been the foreman. I'm presently now working for Philadelphia Housing Authority. I just started a nonprofit organization which I want to house women that don't have home plans, that can't get out, that can't get a place because of their background check. And it's in the beginning process. I'm doing fundraisers. I do have the building. We need some construction. We need anything you could donate. If it's your time with the clean out, I have a building that just needs clean out, renovations, and we need to get these women home.
Now, before we go on break, because that's a great thing, and shout out to Local 332. I got a lot of folks that are there, and I almost became one. I've been on my job for 20 years, but I almost came over there with you guys.
Let's see if the audience has a question.
Yes, that's where I was going to go next. Is there anybody in the audience that has anything that they want to ask the ladies? We have 2 mics out in the audience, or we have some questions on the live if nobody has a question in the audience.
Somebody
No
on live
questions?
has a question?
Somebody on live has a question? Yes?
Shout out from Charlotte.
Give it a shout out. Oh,
Hey, Charlotte.
Okay, that must have been for Ann. Okay, really
Hey,
quick then.
Charlotte.
For any of the ladies to answer. Now, having heard your stories, first I want to commend you all for being brave enough. 1, accepting the responsibility of your actions, and 2, surviving, making it happen. And 066 coming together, standing up for Philly as sisters. If there was any point, knowing now what you know, then if the opportunity presented itself so that you wouldn't have been incarcerated, can you think of a time before it happened that might have been for yourself? And that question is for every or anybody.
Well, I wish I would have went and got another job. I mean, and just...
Well, is that like saying, are you just saying like, if the time presented itself? I mean,
If there was a point
again?
that you felt then, while you were in the streets, if there was a point that you felt that would have kept you from being incarcerated, how do you see that point now?
I don't really think there was anything at that time that could have changed the way that I was going. And I really don't live by regret. I really appreciate every experience in my life, because I feel like without experience, you're nobody, because experience builds character. And I just want to say, the reality of life, everybody is one mistake away from a bad situation. So I'm proud of my mistakes. They made me who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. I'm Sydia Bagley. I got Lockdown Love. I got Size Palace, Size CMOS Gold. I'm moving. You know, I've accomplished things in 5 years that people that been out here and didn't miss the 10 years that I missed, they haven't accomplished half of it, not a quarter of it. So I stand on what I've done, and I'm grateful for the platform that I have. and I'm going to continue to encourage the women, the children, and the people around me. Another thing I'm sorry that I didn't talk about is Lockdown Love is an event that I host every year, and I highlight success after incarceration just to keep my fellow, convicts, like, encouraged, because sometimes it's hard for us. You keep getting doors slammed at the slammed at the slam. And, and the reality is that's what happened in the beginning that got us to that breaking point that it's like, I'm going to go commit a, listen, I know where some money is.
So you're making an opportunity that nobody provided for you.
She said, I know where the money
I think we got to go to a break. Are you going to keep it going?
No,
Okay,
no,
we're going to bring it back for part two? Are we going to do a part two?
Can we do, okay, we're going to do a little bit of part two in the second show that we're going to do. You got 1 minute because somebody has a question in the audience. So we'll do a little bit in the second show and then transition. All right, this is Single on a Saturday Night right here at TGI Fridays. We're going to get a question from the audience when we come back, which is actually the co-host. So let's go. We're back right here. So we're going to get right to you. You want to finish answering the question because you really wanted to tell us. Do you have no regrets?
No, I definitely don't have any regrets. I do believe, like Sydia pretty much touched bases on, was adversity build character. Like if I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. So no, I don't have regrets. No, I'm not proud, but I don't have regrets. I definitely wouldn't be as strong as I am. I definitely wouldn't be as aware as I am. So no regrets at all.
And I just wanted to say that Sy is the one, you know, to surround yourself with like minds, surround yourself with people. She's able to connect the people. Mm-hmm. Not even that her light shines no matter what. Like one moment we just talk and here we are today. That's the power that you have, and you always had that power. Mm-hmm. Now you're just using it to make that money. You know where the money is. Support her. You know where the money is. Support her. Buy. Go ahead.
Yes, my question is, being incarcerated as a female, and now that you were released, how was the transition into dating someone and letting them be aware of your story, where you've been, and was it difficult or easy to transition back into the dating game?
I'll say it's not easy because a lot of people, a lot of males, for myself, the first thing they say is they'll idolize the fact, oh man, she real, she been down. You don't really know my story. You don't know how real I am. I could be fraud. That's the reality. But, they look at that and they'll say, they think you're an amazing person, but then they use it against you. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a
that's called being, no.
That's exactly what it is.
And that's
it's
called being a
thrill
hypocrite.
of exciting. It's exciting dating a girl who's been to prison. Oh, she did 10 years. Oh, everybody know her. Oh, she this, that, the third, and the other. But those same things, when it comes into light, it's like, yeah, well, you was a convict too. You was taking money. Or for myself, because of what I did, now it's like, oh, you too aggressive. Oh, you think you a man. Oh, you think, child.
That makes that person a hypocrite. As the only man sitting up here today,
but it's the thing
my
that
brother's
you go
sitting over
through.
there. No.
Here's
the thing. No. Wait.
Go
Let's not think for men. Let's not think for men. That's one of the issues that we sometimes deal with as the two men on this panel. Don't think for men. You went through what you went through. We can tell you exactly why. One, like you said, Monty, weak. Two, I'm telling you, hypocritical, because take your situation and say it was their daughter, their mother, their relative, how would they feel? And if somebody presented that same thing to them, what it did was showed you that they want the person that you needed to be involved with anyway. So you found out. But don't invest too much of a labeling and trying to figure it out. He showed you exactly what it was hitting for. You move forward and find someone that's going to say, hey, I understand what you've been through, but don't sweat that. We build it from here on, just like what you're doing and what you're doing with your businesses. Absolutely. You're building on your experiences.
So how about you? Did you want to answer that question?
Yes, I went through a situation where I'm too independent, I'm too assertive, I'm too aggressive, can't be trusted. What you doing on the side? How you making that, calculating finances and money and things like that. So I also had to go through a period of not really proving myself, but in a sense, yes. Like, I'm not transporting nothing. Like, I mean, not anymore. I mean, I'm really not. I've always been good with managing money, saving money, you know, so I still kind of, you know, I get that here and there from a few people. Like, what if she's still doing something on the side? Like, I'm not doing anything on the side. I'm just moving smarter. Smarter.
Reestablishing your rep.
Yeah.
Reestablishing your rep.
Yeah, I mean, I have even, you know, what she doing on the side? How she do that? I mean, I've always been good with money. I like money. I can't, you know, I learned from my father. Like, I was a daddy's girl. You know, I rode around the city with the men in my family. So I've always had that in me. And coming from where I came from to now, I just took my negative and turned it all the way into a positive. Like, that's all I did. Like, that's all I'm doing. I'm not doing nothing else. Like, don't frame me. But that's pretty much, that's it.
Anybody else having a dating experience you want to talk about?
Well, my dating experience, well, when I went in, it was my co-defendant that I was dating. And the thing is that he pillow talked with someone, and she was the person that, you know, told everything. So I couldn't pretty much date too much.
You said, watch who you pillow talk with, huh?
Yes.
Listen.
Yes. Yeah, so basically, like, dating was a thing, and it wasn't pretty much a thing on my mind. And then I came home and I was really into someone, and they were still into the streets, and that was not the route I was taking. So I took another route, and now I did find love again. I found it at 332.
Well,
Yeah, so.
congratulations on your love, because, you know, we're still out here trying to find love.
Congratulations.
Well, I found love. Anyway, we're going to go. We had really extended the show, but you know what? We had to, and I think we need to do it again. I think we need to, not like I said, y'all just be shining. Our sideline conversations just be told seriously, like sideline conversations. But let's go. Thank you to Glenn Hamilton, since you just walked in the door. Glenn Hamilton, he is the sponsor of the show for today, even though he just walked in. But we got you. All right, let's go. Thank you. We're coming back next week.